Shalom Aleichem everyone. Another class Tuesday night. Today's topic is going to be a very interesting, a very controversial, and a very, very, very important one. Before I'm going to say what I wanted to say, I just want you to know I prepared 30 papers full of notes personally on this topic. So don't think I just said it out of the blue. Please go online, go to people, research this, research what I'm saying. Now, we'll be talking about today about Christmas. Now, I don't like to say the word Christmas. I usually say Xmas, but for the sake of the viewers, for the sake of the public, I'm going to say Christmas. Now, before I did, I asked my Rebbe, am I allowed to say it? And he said yes. For this manner, you're allowed to. So let's start. You know, Christmas, according to the Christians, is on December 25th. On December 25th, as we know, they say, the Catholic Church says that Jesus, Yeshu, his real name is Yeshu, was born on that day. And today I'm going to prove it wrong. And today I'm going to prove to you how it's not true. And how really the holiday of Christmas is pure paganism, pure idolatry, pure comes from so many different cults and so many different gods. How Santa Claus is not even true. How the lights on the trees, how the star on the top, how the song that they sing, how the presents that they give. Where do all these customs come from? You know, in the beginning, Christianity was a branch of Judaism. The beginning Christians, they kept all the Torah. They just believed in one thing. That Jesus was their Savior. That was the only difference that they had. And in a matter of time, it started to change. Now we must understand, how do we know that Jesus wasn't really born on December 25th? How do we know this? The earliest passages of Jesus was in Paul. Paul brings down when he's already an older guy. And in the scriptures, in the New Testament at least, there's nothing about him. Nothing at all. But in the time of the Nachmanides, there was a debate between the Ramban, which is Nachmanides, and the head bishop, which was a Jew that converted to Christianity. And they had a debate. And in his debate, for argument's sake, there is a midrash. That the midrash says, it actually says in the Tanakh, that when the Beit HaMikdash got destroyed, a goy was plowing his field. And the goy tells the Jew that was right next to him that the ox said that your Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. And 5 seconds later, the ox says that your Savior was just born. Just for argument's sake, when did the Beit HaMikdash get destroyed? In the summer. If they held that Jesus was the Savior, according to this midrash, he was born when? In the summer. So how can we celebrate Christmas in the middle of the winter? What's going on over here? It doesn't make sense. Something doesn't make sense. Not only that, Christianity, we know that Jesus, his mother, let's go through the story very fast. His mother was a hairdresser. I don't know if any of you guys know this. She was a hairdresser. She was a very pretty lady, it says in the Gemara. The small daf that we have of her, we have a little bit in Masechet Gitin and a little bit in Masechet Sanhedrin. The rest was censored by the Romans and they took it out. She was a very beautiful woman. And she was married to a guy called Yosef. And this Yosef one day wasn't home. And a Roman guy came inside and slept with her. Slept with this Miriam. And in order to save herself, what did she say? that I was impregnated by a Holy Spirit. Let me ask you guys a question. If today, God forbid, someone that you know would say, yeah, listen, I was sleeping one day and I had a dream and they said I was pregnant. Would we believe her? What is she, on shrooms or something? She's not normal. Forget about even smoking weed. She's on shrooms. She's not normal. But the people believed her. It always hit me. Why did people believe her? How foolish do you have to be to believe a person that says that someone slept with them? A spirit, God. Until I understood, until I went in depth into the subject. You see, on December 25th, there was something called the winter solstice. What does that mean? You see, the Goyim, the pagans, the ones that, solstice. The Goyim, they believed in something very, very unique. Their beliefs of their AVODA ZARA was very also logical. What was their logical? When was this winter solstice? They started to celebrate right when the sun would finish its smallest times. When do we have the longest nights? The longest nights. In the winter. We have the longest nights in the winter time. Now the people back in the day didn't have electricity, they didn't have fire. So they always used to want the sunlight. They used to keep them warm. They used to be able to work. They used to be able to travel. At nighttime, you couldn't be able to do anything. So they used to always celebrate these gods that were always born in the winter solstice time. For example, the Egyptian god Horus was also born on December 25th. It's an Egyptian god. The Greek god Helios was also born on December 25th. Getting the connection? We don't even finish. I have a whole list of these AVODA ZARA. The Roman god of Aleppo. No. Sorry. Apollo. The god of Apollo, I think he was some god of the sun or of the brain, of thinking, logic, all the shtiyot, was also born at this time. The Hindu god, Mithra, was also born on December 25th. These are all pagan gods. These are all people that believed in more than one god. They all believe in this time. The god of wine, Bacchus, a Greek god, the god of wine and foreplay. Now, everything that I'm saying is you're going to see how it's connected to what? Christmas. The god of sun, Christmas. The god of brain, Christmas. The god of getting drunk, Christmas. The god of foreplay and having sports, Christmas. The list continues on going. But there was one god that was very, very, very precious to who? To Constantine. Who was Constantine? Constantine was the last Roman emperor that transferred from paganism to Catholic. He was the first, at the last year of his life, he converted to be a Catholic. And he believed in Saturnala. Okay, Baruch Hashem, I don't know these names. Saturnala was a god at a time for 8 days. For 7 days they used to feast, they used to get drunk. The Roman courthouses were closed at these days. For 7 days they used to close their courthouses. Why? Because everything was permitted. Stealing was permitted, rape was permitted. I don't want to even continue. Death was permitted. No, you couldn't get judged on these days. There was no judgment. That's why the courthouses had to be closed. Now, what happened? The first pope, does anyone know who he was? Not Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester, Saint Sylvester. Somewhere in my notes I have his last name, his second half of his name. It's really irrelevant. This Sylvester, he really wanted to make a mass conversion. He wanted to convert the whole Roman Empire. something that the Muslims are trying to do, but they never succeeded. But this Sylvester succeeded. What did he tell? What did he tell to this Roman king? What was his name again? Constantine. What did he tell Constantine? That why don't you want to convert to Christianity? He said, listen, I believe in the God of the sun. And the God of the sun, we celebrate him for 7 days. And on these days we can get drunk. We can rape. We can have all the fun in the world. The gingerbread man, that's something they used to give out during the solstice. That's something they used to give out on their holiday. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show it to you in actual real life. There's one idol that I didn't bring down, which is written in the Torah very, very, very much. His name is the Baal. There's an idol called Baal that they used to sacrifice to this idol live humans. And that was one of the idols that, if you see in many different teachings and writings, all of the Greek gods, they all had, if you look, even if you look at Jesus, if you see their paintings and their sculptures and the glass paint, they all have like a circle around the head. Do you ever ask yourself why? Where did that come from? That's a pagan tradition. A pagan tradition. What's the pagan tradition? They used to worship the sun very, very much. Sunlight. Do you know the star on the Christmas tree? You know why it has that star? Why did it have those eight-footed star? Just because to present it like a sun. To present it like this is the AVODA ZARA. You know the tree. You know where's the source of the tree? First of all, the source of the tree is in the Torah. I think it's in Yeshayahu, Perek 10, Perek Yud, Pasuk Aleph. It's in the Torah. It says what? You shall not cut down the tree and bring it into your house and decorate it with gold and silver ornaments. It says in Mamash, it's a Pasuk Mefresh in the Torah. This is what? This is the Christmas tree. Last year I went to someone's house for Chanukah Davait. I almost had Hatkafat Lev. I walk in, so I see little kids. There was a Santa in the house. Zadz Maroz. What kind of nonsense is this? A guy with a big beard, fat like a chazir. You know what's so funny? They're so funny. You know what they believe? A guy that weighs 350 pounds can go down a chimney. A guy that weighs 200 pounds can barely run a block. He's going to go up chimneys. He's going to give gifts. It's just such a shtuyah. And I'm going to prove to you how it's paganism, from which God they held of it. But step by step. So this tree, we're up to the tree part. This tree is written in the Torah. There was a cult called the R.ASHER cult. Now they wanted to, again, the Christians wanted to mass convert them. And they did. They succeeded. They mass converted a lot of the Goyim. And they said, no problem. They said, listen, we bring this tree at a certain time in the house. Why did they bring it? Because it was a tree that it never loses its leaves. Not in the summer and not in the winter. So a sign of life was this tree. So they used to bring it in and they used to serve it. Now where did the whole thing of, if you look at the old Christmas movie, there's always a chimney there. Always. Now they put lights around the tree. Back then they didn't have lights. What did they do? They used to take a little piece of the wood of the tree, and they used to take other pieces of wood and they used to throw it and they used to burn it in the fire. Why? Did anyone ever think why? To bring light. They thought this time of the season was full of light. It's pure AVODA ZARA, 100%. Has nothing to do with Christianity. And that's what our people worship. We go to Christmas parties. We're an embarrassment. How does that even make sense? It's pure AVODA ZARA, 100%. And I cannot stop saying it. Now, at 1466, there was a pope. His name was Pope Paul. for entertainment on Christmas Day, he used to make the Jews undress. He used to make them go naked. And he used to feed them a lot of food. And then he used to make them run. He used to make them run. This is our ancestors. This is Rome. Rome had both Sephardi and Ashkenaz inside of it. He used to make them run naked. And at the end of them running, he used to kill them brutally. I don't even want to say how they used to kill, how they used to murder them. Tke he made them. Rezegi he made them. He cut them up into thin sliced pieces, ready for baksh. And what do? Happy Christmas. It's just shtuyot. Happy Christmas. It's nonsense. This happened to us, Rabotai.
They did that to us?
Yeah, they did this to us. This has happened to us. Oh, it happened to these people. It happened to the Roman Jews. Let me ask you a question. Do you use your pinky in your body? Your foot pinky, you use it? No, you don't even recognize that you use it. Cut it off. No, why? It's still part of you. It doesn't make a difference where the person is. He's a Yid, he's a Jew. How do you do such a thing like that? And Agav, according to science, if you don't have your pinky, you don't have a full balance on your body. Just to let you know. The reason why Hashem created the pinky is that you should have a full balance on your body. But we're not talking about this right now. Now, the mistletoe. Does anyone know where the mistletoe comes? You know, everyone's already start to laugh. Yes, this is the best time to go to college campuses or to high school and to go kiss a girl. You want to know where it came from? This mistletoe, pure AVODA ZARA, Rabotai, pure. First of all, the mistletoe is a very, very poisonous plant. The real mistletoe, not the one you buy in Family Dollar. The real mistletoe is a very poisonous plant. Where did it come from? There was a god, and his name was Balder. There was a god, and his name was Balder. This Balder was killed by a mistletoe arrow by Hoder. Hoder, sorry. This Hoder killed him. Why? Because they were fighting over a goddess called Nana. So Balder died because he was in love with Nana, and Hoder wanted to marry her. So he killed the god, which makes so much sense. He killed the god with a mistletoe arrow in order to be with her. This is some serious gods, if you ask me. And this is the mistletoe. This is what we ask for this. You know how many Jews were raped in these kind of events? I'm talking about 80 years ago. The years right before the Holocaust. They used to still do this. These practices were still practiced. This is nothing new. This is old stuff. For us it's new because we live in the 21st century. Oh my God. But they used to do this. And that's why under the mistletoe you can do what? You can kiss any girl. Why? Because the whole the whole thing about a mistletoe was to kill someone over to do shtiyot with them. So behind the mistletoe was already doing nonsense. That's the custom of the mistletoe. Now, how about giving Christmas gifts? You know, I was learning in Kola with my brother. He brought in a nice sefer. Very nice sefer. He brought in a sefer that was written by Rav Ben Tzion Mutzafi, and he wrote how, at least in the Bnei Ashkenaz, the Bnei Sfar, they never gave gifts. We never gave gifts. What did we give? We gave sweets. We made wafli. We made, I don't know, different kind of sweets. We gave, and we gave it out to the kids. The Bnei Ashkenaz used to give matbeot, money. We never used to give money. But the Goyim used to give out gifts. And unfortunately, the Jews came to America and they think they're the Goyim. We have enough poverty amongst us, and we have to now buy gifts for the kids. This is a pure Goyish custom. There is nowhere in any book yet that I found, I don't know all the books, that says you should buy for 8 days gifts for your kids. You're teaching your kid to be a schnar. You're teaching your kid just to learn how to take and not to give. What is it you buy gifts for your kids for 8 days? What kind of nonsense is this? This is not derech Torah. This is derech of goyim. Not just. It's full of pagan. How do you say it? Paganism. It's full of paganism. Yes, giving gifts on Hanukkah. I'm going to prove to you how. No, don't give gifts. Don't give it. Don't give your kid a gift either before Hanukkah or after Hanukkah. Don't give it on Hanukkah. He shouldn't get confused. We're not. No questions right now. No questions right now. I'm going to prove to you how it's paganism. Now, first of all, the original custom of giving gifts comes from the AVODA ZARA called Baal. Baal. There was a theory, not a theory. First of all, some say Baal is really Nimrod. Nimrod became Baal, which was married to his mother. And he died, and the whole story of Baal. What did they hold? That at December 25th, in the winter solstice, he died. And when he died, he came back alive, and he brought people gifts. That was a way of showing and opening. That's one idolatry that happened regarding the gifts. Now I'm going to get into something more juicy about that, about giving gifts. The pshat on giving gifts comes from two different gods, paganism gods. One, which we learn out Santa Claus from, which is Odin. Oh, everyone's eyes came out. Odin. How do I know this? I work with kids in school and they tell me about this show. It's called A Viking. Thor's father, right? Odin, right? So, all this Odin, Shmodin stuff is pure AVODA ZARA. There's another god, and her name was Pascha Epithelia. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. I don't know AVODA ZARA names. I know what I saw, what they said. This is what it is. Pascha Epithelia. She was a god in the German cult. I'm sorry, in the Italian cult. Now, how did she come to fruition? How is she so known to us? Now, there was a man called Nicholas. Saint Nicholas, which he became at the end Saint Nicholas. You know where Saint Nicholas was born? He was born in Turkey. Saint Nicholas used to go to church with a t-shirt. He didn't go with no furry coat. He looked like a scary guy. This Saint Nicholas, around 220 Common Era, 270 Common Area, after he died, there came a ship came. After he died, around 1,600 years after his death, a ship came and they took his bones and they brought him to the shores of Italy. Now, why is he so important? How did he become a saint? You see, he attended the Council of Nicaea. This Council of Nicaea, from there he became so known about Christmas. He's one of the people that actually established, if I'm not mistaken, no, I'm sorry. The Bishop of Myra, which attended after around 1,600 years earlier, which attended the Nicaea Council. This Nicaea Council is when they actually established the last Gospels of John and all this other Goyish things. That's when they actually established Christianity. There was a group of people that took the bones of Saint Nicholas. There was a group of people that took the bones of Saint Nicholas, and they took it to Italy. And in Italy, they worshipped someone called Pascha Epithelia. This goddess Pascha Epithelia, her idol worship was to give gifts. And not any gifts, she used to put it in stockings. You guys can look anything that I'm saying right now. It's pure, it's 100%. I did my research. It took me 3.5 weeks to prepare this lecture, if not more. She used to put gifts in stockings of little kids. She became so big, she became very well known. Why? Because she had, in Italy, the bones of Saint Nicholas. Now, her ritual, her idol worship started to go into the land of Germany. And in Germany, the Vikings in Germany, they worshipped Woden, which is the father of Thor. Odin, which was the father of Thor. This Odin, they said that he used to have a long beard, white long beard. He used to go with a sword and used to ride a white horse. Hint, hint, Mr. Santa Claus. Now, what did they do? The Christians came up to them. They said, listen, when's the days that you worship your gods? They said around the autumn time. He said, listen, push it another month. Do it in December 25th and you can keep your God. Just convert to Christianity. They said, listen, it's a win-win deal. What's there to lose? We can both practice our rituals and become Christian. No? So they converted. And this Woden was suddenly he became... No, before Santa, he started to become the gift giver. Now, there's a song. I don't know if you know this this song, this Christian song. Santa is coming to town. You better not cry. You better not think. You know this song? You know, if you look at the lyrics of the song, it's a very scary song. Very scary. Why did they have such a scary song during Christmas? Because Santa Claus originally was a very scary man. He wasn't a jolly guy until Coca-Cola came out. We'll talk about that a little later. I'm not joking with you. He was very, very, very scary guy. Long beard. They actually I think in the 18 something they have a picture of the old Santa who was hunchback, wearing all black, long coat. Very scary guy. And who did they take him from originally? Odin. Odin, whatever his name is.
Old father.
Yes. Now, in 1809, there was a guy called Washington Irving. Now, who was this Washington Irving? He wrote a series of like comics. It was called the Knickerbocker. Knickerbocker history. You know Sleepy Hollow? You ever heard of Sleepy Hollow? Before it became a TV show, it was officially written by Washington Irving. It's his works that they just made out of. They made a whole series of movies out of it. And he also wrote something called the Knickerbocker. And in the Knickerbocker, the first time he mentioned Santa Claus was when he was talking about who? Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas's Dutch's name, his German name, his Dutch's name was Santa Claus. You know Santa Claus is who? Saint Nicholas, you machshamo. Not funny. They massacred and they raped our women. Why do you think we have so many Jews that have blue eyes and blonde hair? Avraham Avinu, I promise you, don't have no blue eyes and no blonde hair. I can guarantee it to you. He had dark eyes and dark hair. Unfortunately, they raped our Jewish brothers and sisters. For hundreds of years. And it's a disgrace, it's disgusting. Where was the freedom of religion then? Suddenly the Goyim becoming civilized. After they massacred us. Know your friends, my people. Know your friends. Now, after this, the first time we heard of Santa Claus was in 1809. In 1809, Santa Claus was appeared as Saint Nicholas. Now, there was a guy called, in 1822, there was a person called Clement Moore. Now, he wrote a poem. What was his poem? He started to describe Santa Claus in a reindeer suddenly, Rudolph the reindeer. You know, before who was Santa Claus? He was a guy on a horse. He was voted. No? Suddenly, no, he's a nice, jolly guy. He gives presents in the South Pole. St. Nicholas comes from where, we said?
Turkey.
Turkey. The man lives in the heat of the epitome of heat all year round. Suddenly, he lives in all cold all year round. What happened? What happened? You're gonna start to understand what happened. He describes, and he writes a poem, that Santa Claus has reindeers, Rudolph the reindeers, which is, again, I'm not going to say who Rudolph is right now, and he lives in the South Pole, and he has a whole bunch of elves, and they build toys for kids all year round. Now, in 1862 through 1886, there was a guy called Nast. This Nast used to write different kind of comic episodes, but not like a comics as we know it, but different kind of stories for kids. And he placed Santa Claus in the South Pole. He put him there. Now, I don't know if you know, in 1931, Coca-Cola hit a depression. Does anyone know why? They took out cocaine from Coca-Cola. They used to have Coke inside Coca-Cola. Why is it called Coca-Cola? Because they had cocaine.
One of the secret ingredients.
Instead of going for a smoke, take a Coca-Cola. Kaifuish, no? So what did they do? Coca-Cola was in a very big depression. Very big. And what did they decide? They decided at 1931 they're going to implement Santa Claus drinking a Coca-Cola from the South Pole with a red suit. Suddenly, St. Paul, that never wore most probably a coat in his life because he lived in Turkey, wore a furry coat, a red furry coat with a nice fur, and he goes, ho, ho, ho. This is Santa Claus. So at the end of the day, who was Santa Claus? He was a mix of Christian, crusade, paganism, commercial ideology. That's who Santa Claus is. And that's the history of the Goyim. They took something so bad and they try to make it so good. All other holidays are like this. Thanksgiving, Easter. You know that Easter comes from an Egyptian goddess of Isis? She was born from an egg. Why do they still use an egg? Rabbits don't lay eggs. Who lays eggs? Reptiles. You know a crocodile. They think it really comes this whole thing in Egypt. What was the main animal there? Crocodiles. And until today, they used to bathe this egg in blood. Until today, if you go to the White House on Easter, what do they make their color of their egg? Ruby red, the color of blood. These are all pagan traditions, Rabbi Isai. We live in a country of Edom. We live in this kind of country. But they love us. They don't love Jack. They want our money. Jews are good. We're smart. You understand? So next time you're thinking of going to a Christmas party, New Year's, we're going to start to touch on. Think that once upon a time, they used to kill us. I'm going to tell you something else. On April 20th, there's a holiday. Does anyone know what's the holiday on April 20th? Shh. Nope. April 20th is Hitler Day. Hitler Day. In Germany and some parts of America, especially by the rednecks, they celebrate April 20th. Imagine in 100 years from now, your kids want to dress up wearing a swastika with a nice Hitler mustache. How would you feel? I know what he wants to say. I would break them. It's the same thing. They'll just fluff out Hitler. They'll make him not a small mustache, they'll add a big mustache to him with a big smile with orbit teeth. It's the same thing. Christmas is the same thing. So before you think of going to celebrate, before you think to take a picture by a Christmas tree, remember, you're officially practicing idolatry. An idolatry that's been there since the beginning of time. Ein chadash tachad Hashem, as Shlomo HaMelech said. What did he mean? There's nothing new. It's all new, this world. No. The object in the outside might be new, but the thing on the inside is very old. The whole thing about these holidays are all from the Goyim. I don't hate Goyim, but they're just so stupid. Look at your own holidays. If Jesus was Jewish, what do you think he practiced? Pesach, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Sukkot. What do they practice? Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, New Year's. I don't know. All these paganistic holidays. You want to speak instead? You understand? Yes, Thanksgiving is AVODA ZARA. Maybe we'll talk about it next year, Thanksgiving. Now, moreover, let's hit the topic of New Year's. Let's hit the topic of New Year's. You know, New Year's is a very, 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 very interesting time of year. I remember when I used to work in the city, I had to go to work on the January 1st. It smelled like pure alcohol. It was disgusting. Don't tell me that alcohol makes you happy. Don't give me that full of nonsense. Don't tell me smoking weed also makes you happy. It doesn't make you happy. It gives you an excitement for the moment. And everyone over here can admit that. And how do we know that? Because the next second you're feeding for it more. And I don't blame you. When I'm going to talk about weed, I'm going to explain to you why smoking weed is one of the most destructive things to a person's body. And mentally. And physically. Why? It gives you a certain high that you have to get through learning Torah without the toiling of the work. I feel high 24/7. Knowing that I'm walking in full of godliness. Every step that I take in my life is full of godliness. Not because people surrounding me are godliness. People surrounding me is not godliness. But I make it that it should be godliness. I walk in that way. That's what we have to do. We have to walk in the way that everyone around you is godliness. That's our mission. So dir betachtonim, to making a resting place for God in this world. I'm not telling you to throw away your things that you do in 1 second, but at least acknowledge that it's not good. I can sit and talk to someone for 5-6 hours and he's trying to prove to me how smoking weed is good. It's not good. Yes, you have an issue. Yes, you want to sometimes take it. Acknowledge that it's not good, but continue doing it. Because if a person doesn't understand that he's doing something wrong, the person can never get cured. It's only once someone knows that he's doing something wrong, that's when he can start his curing process. Now, New Year's. In 46 BC, before the Common Era, before the calendar, you know, when I was in third grade, everyone thought I was a stupid kid. I wasn't stupid, just my teachers were too stupid for me. I sat down, and I don't know what year it was, 2000 and something, maybe even 19 something. And I'm thinking, I said, in science we learn that the world is billion years old. The Torah says we're 5,600 something years. How is this guy telling me it's 2,000 something? Something doesn't make sense. So I go and I ask the teacher. His name was Mr. Gallo. I still remember his name. How do I know? He was very chunky. And he always had ripped pants. But ripped pants in a place that it wasn't supposed to be ripped. How do we know? We used to play kugelach when we were kids. You know the kugelach? And one time the kugelach fell under his desk. And behold, what do you see? Ripped pants. And Hashem Yishmor from that day on. Okay? But that's what happened. Now, but that was my question. How is it possible that the calendar is 2,000 and something years, or 19 something, whatever it was when I was at that age? And now I'm going to explain to you. In 46 BC, 46 before they started counting the calendar, that means Yoshka already passed away. They started counting this calendar way after him. There was a person called Julius Caesar. Now this Julius Caesar, he was a pagan, and he believed in a god called Janus. This god Janus had two heads. He was the god of doors and windows. So he went to the Catholics and he said, I'm willing to do the new year on January 1st because that's the day that my God was born, and it'll make perfect sense. The same way how my God has two heads, it's a perfect transition from the last year to the new year. Pagan, number one. New year, how you know New Year is a pagan? It represents the god of Janus. That's one thing. Okay. Now how did this first year of New Year's look like? You ready? Trust me, you're not ready. Because when I found this out, I couldn't sleep at night. I'm the kind of person, when I hear something, I have to put myself mentally, not physically. There are two kinds of people. People that physically have to put themselves in this kind of situation. There's someone that it's enough for them mentally to put themselves in this kind of situation. I put myself mentally in this situation. That's what? This Caesar ordered every Jew that lived in his country, in Rome, to run in the streets brutally. And there is actually an eyewitness that we have his notes, that he said that day there was so much blood running down the streets of Rome, you could take a bath in it. That's what they did to the Jewish people. That's how much they killed us. They brutally killed us. It's sad. And why can't we kill them? Because that doesn't make us better than them. We can't kill them. We have to be different than them. How do you kill the existence of Hitler? There are two kinds of people. There are kind of people that says, listen, if we were never really orthodox or really religious, Hitler would never do that to us. But then there are the wise Jews that say what? You want to really destroy Hitler? You do exactly opposite what he wanted to do to you. He wanted to destroy you. Purposely wear your tefillin. Purposely put on your kippah. Purposely put on your tzitzit. Why? That's a proof that we're still existing. Someone sent me a nice photo on WhatsApp on Hanukkah. I think everyone got it. It was such a beautiful photo. I saw it. I didn't know what to look at. My Hanukkah candles or on this photo. Egyptian mythology, Babylonian mythology, Greek mythology, all these, until it got to the top, UN, and then suddenly what do you see on top? A menorah. Primitive menorah is still existing after all these great civilizations are gone. That's our Torah. That's how happy we have to be. And the only reason why I'm not screaming, because I got from different viewers, people told me to tone down a little bit. So I want to respect the viewers, but really right now I will be screaming from such excitement that I'm a Yid, I'm a Jew. I have the power to go with a beard, with peot, with a kippah, with tzitzit. He's already tweaking over here. You understand, Ramatai? This like, you have to walk in the street. I'm a Jew and I'm proud and I'll sing it out loud. And forever, that's all I'll be. You can't change your identity. Now, New Year's, there was something called the Annunciation Day. What's the Annunciation Day? Does anyone know? Of course not. You learn about the New Testament. Annunciation Day was the day that the angel Gabriel, according to the Christians, came to Mary and told her that she's going to have a baby. And what day was that? March 25th. The Christian New Year was officially on March 25th. Even Christians don't know this information. The real New Year was March 25th. Now, there was a king of England and his name was William the Bastard. That was his name. William the Bastard. Actually, Agav. Rashi says, if I'm not mistaken, Parashat Vayishlach, that the kings of Edom, they're the only nation that they're not rightfully kings. Meaning, it doesn't really get passed between father to son, father to son. Someone else can come and steal their kingdom and they become kings. They anoint themselves their own kings. If I'm not mistaken.
Doesn't get past that way.
No. Now, there was a king, his name was William the Bastard, as you can see, William the Bastard. In 1066 Common Era, he wanted to make the new year. He was the first one to make, not the first, but the second one to make the new year on January 1st. Why? He wanted to make it the inauguration of his coming to become king on January 1st. And the new year, he felt it like a special thing, like God appointed me to become a king. That's why he wanted January 1st, and that's how January 1st became New Year's. But then it went back to March 21st. How? There was a Pope Gregory the 13th. He was going through the calendar. There are two kinds of calendars. The Gregorian calendar, and there's another calendar, I forgot the name at the moment. Julian calendar. Before Pope the 13th, Pope Gregory the 13th changed it to the Gregorian calendar. We went according to the Julian calendar, which they made a mistake. There was a monk, I forgot his name at the moment. He made a mistake on the counting, and he forgot to add another day in the year. For every 4 years, you know, there's a leap year. He forgot to do that, and the calendar was all mishkababel. So this Pope Gregory the 13th, he created a new calendar, and he moved the new year back to January 1st. Now, the same way as it was back in the day. Now, Gregory the 13th, in New Year's Day, let me just tell you a little bit about this Gregory, so you should know what he used to do. He used to make it that the Jews, in the time of where he lived, on Shabbos night, after they finished their services, he would make the Jews go into a church, and he used to make them listen to the Gospels of the New Testament. He used to do this to little kids, purposely that they should convert. In 1578, he started a new tax. What was a tax? Tax the Jews for their own conversion. He used to forcefully convert the Jewish people. Now this is where I'm going to finish. In 1581, he made his army, his group of bandits, go out and take the Torah and different books of Gemara, different Mishnayot and different Rishonim, and he used to burn them. Just that the Jews shouldn't practice the Torah. This was when? This was on the new year of the Goyim, where everyone gets intoxicated and everyone goes and kisses other people's wives. You ever saw it? I've seen it. This is disgusting. Yeah. On New Year's, they get drunk. This one kisses this one kisses that one. This one's like this, this, that. Ah, ooh, they're all happy. The ball dropped. Too bad it didn't drop on their head. Now in Israel, you see, Israel is a Jewish state, Rabotai. Now it's not nice for the Jews to celebrate New Year's and Christmas. You know, we're Jewish. So what do they celebrate on January 1st? Sylvester Day. What is this Sylvester Day?
Would people in Israel celebrate Sylvester Day?
Oh yes. In our holy land, which is ruled by the Zionist government, which is pure Erev Rav, they call it Sylvester Day. On January 1st, in Eretz HaKodesh, in our Jewish homeland, yeah, it's our Jewish homeland. It's ours. It's not the Muslims. It's ours. I cannot say it enough. They celebrate a day called Sylvester. There's another country that also calls it Sylvester, and that's Germany. They don't call it Christmas. They call it Sylvester. Now, this day of Sylvester was named after the first pope, and his name was Sylvester. And what did this Sylvester do? He told Constantine to kill all the Jews that lived in the Holy Land. And Constantine, before he died, he made sure to kill all the Jews that lived in Yerushalayim. So the people of Israel are commemorating their own deaths. Now you understand why the people get up and they go against the government of Israel.
In Israel, they celebrate Christmas.
They celebrate, the Goyim, but it's not a national holiday.
They call it Sylvester.
New Year's they call Sylvester. That's like a national. That's like a holiday for the people. All I want to say is something very simple, Rabotai. I'm not here to preach. Today was a very boring class, but yet a class of truth. I have a new editor on my right over here. What are you doing? You're on camera.
You still on camera?
Now, all I want to say.
He says, please.
Shh. All I want to say is that before you walk into a New Year party, I just can't, Rabotai. I love you guys so much. You're like my kids. Okay, now stop. 1, 2, 3. I'm leaving it raw, Habibi. The people have to know how true these videos are. People think this is a fake. I talk to walls. I talk to people, Rabotai. People have to understand before they walk into the holiday of New Year's and Christmas, they have to know that it's pure idol worship. It's really hurtful. Why I gotta go to a Jewish, my own brother's house, not my physical brother, but my own spiritual brothers, and go and I see them going to take pictures with Santa Claus. I'm going to see them they go get gifts, they do all these customs, they drink this hot cocoa, they eat the gingerbread man. These are all AVODA ZARA, Rabotai. They put a tree in their house. They have a tree and they have the menorah. How does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. That's the epitome of our destruction. These people wanted to kill us. And they still do. Esav soneh Yaakov. It's a halakha mefureshet. Think before you go into your next party. Is it worth it? I'm putting down my own identity. I'm a Jew, and I'm going to stay a Jew. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.